What's going on, guys? Nate here, and today I would like to discuss Skyrim. Shocking, I know, please hold your surprise. And whether or not its reputation is something that we're gonna see suffer thanks to Bethesda's, what I'm gonna argue is oversaturation of the title. By 2018, there will be 6 different versions of Skyrim in some capacity, not including the Elder Scrolls Legends Skyrim themed expansion, which we don't talk about. Most of these editions are pretty easy to justify. You have the launch edition, which for obvious reasons you kinda need. You have the collector's edition, which, fine, this is kinda common practice. Then you have the Legendary Edition, which did include all of the DLCs and didn't require much of Bethesda's time, so fine. And then more recently in 2016, we got the Special Edition, bringing the game over to the PS4 and Xbox One, making it 64-bit compatible on the PC, and of course allowing console users to download mods. So it can definitely be argued that the Special Edition does have a lot of utility. But now Skyrim coming to Switch and the PSVR are the straws that are threatening to break the metaphorical camel's back in reference to my personal patience. By continuing to produce versions of the same game 6 years later, Bethesda does 2 things. 1, as stated before, they risk oversaturating the title. Too much of anything can make it a bad thing. For example, I love pizza. If someone comes over and says, "Hey Nate, I bought you a pizza," I will say, "Great, thanks." And then they do the same thing the next day, and I'll say, "Oh, thanks again." Then they do it again the next day, and by then I'll probably say something like, "Wait, what, again?" Okay, and before you know it, I'm sick of pizza. I feel like this same sort of principle applies here quite well, and additionally, this opens up Skyrim to be held to the same standards of more modern games, which could damage its reputation. And after 6 years, the game has some notable issues. The visuals alone aren't that great anymore. Now, don't get me wrong, in 2011, they were more than acceptable, but vanilla Skyrim in 2017 isn't exactly a charm to look at. And I think the vast majority of people that buy these versions have already experienced the majority of Skyrim beforehand, and could fall victim to what I've come to like to call "I've already done that" syndrome. When I first started up Skyrim Special Edition on the Xbox One and created a character, I specifically remember thinking, "Oh my gosh, I can't wait to fight for the Stormcloaks this time and maybe be a Dark Elf." Wait, I've already done that. Well, time to download some mods, I guess. Even now, my Skyrim experience is largely dependent on mods and community content, because most of what the vanilla game included, I've already done or has become outdated. And without these mods, there's really not much of an incentive for me to play the game. In addition to oversaturation and the constant repolishing of this 60-year-old pair of shoes, it's only going to distract Bethesda and its resources from working on something new. Skyrim Special Edition's development started the moment the studio got their hands on the Xbox One. Once they did, they immediately tried to port Skyrim onto it. Now, to be fair, Todd Howard did claim that they were only doing this to test the waters and see how the console works, that they were going to port Skyrim onto the Xbox One, regardless of whether or not they were planning to release it with a remaster. But with all of these other versions and editions of Skyrim, I'm beginning to question if that's entirely true. Perhaps Todd was just trying to distract people from the truth and not let them know they're actually trying to remaster Skyrim again. Skyrim on the Switch was announced in 2017 and was probably being worked on long before then, and even now, Bethesda still doesn't feel confident enough to give us an actual release date, only the ominous Q4 of 2017. And I really don't even want to think about how long or what it took to get this game on VR, but it makes you wonder, would Bethesda, instead investing these assets into their new game, whatever it is, Starfield, improve its quality or accelerate its release? And the answer is probably a resounding yes. So the question now is that trade-off worth it? And in my opinion, not really. I don't care what you were able to do 6 years ago. I want to see what you can do now. Don't remake Skyrim. Make something that's just as good, or at least act like you're trying to. Now, don't let me fool you. What Bethesda's doing, while it might not be what the consumers really want the most from a desire standpoint, it's still probably best for Bethesda, looking at it from a financial perspective. Bethesda would not be doing this if people weren't buying it. And it's very difficult to get mad at a company for doing what it's supposed to do, make money. Like, what, you're gonna get mad at a kid for trying to pass his classes? This is literally their job. But still, I feel the need to complain and just rant about this a little bit more. So thank you for giving me a platform to do that. Again, don't get me wrong, I really do love Skyrim. It's one of my favorite games ever. Probably at least one of the top 10 of the decade. And again, you're watching it in the background. I still love it. I still play it. Albeit with mods, it's still definitely provided a platform for a very amazing experience. But with that, we're gonna wrap up. Leave a comment down below with how you feel about this. Is Skyrim on the VR something that looks interesting or new to you, or is this all kind of more of the same gimmick from Bethesda? I'd like to know how you feel about this. But again, I hope you all enjoyed. If so, a like rating is always very much appreciated. I hope to see you all in my next video. Peace out, everybody.